Today, we're going to follow the money, a trail worth thousands of crores, money that's supposed to build roads, schools, and hospitals right in your backyard. But a huge chunk of it is just sitting there, unspent. So let's find out why.
And this is the number that kicks off our entire investigation. Get this, 1,900 crore rupees. That's the unspent balance from just one parliamentary term, the 17th Lok Sabha, from a single development fund.
I mean, this is a massive sum of money that was meant for local development projects. So you gotta ask the big questions. Why wasn't it spent? And what on earth happens to all that cash when a new member of parliament, an MP, takes over?
So to really get a handle on this, we first need to look at the scheme itself, and the core reason all this money is piling up.
It's all about something called the Member of Parliament Local Area Development Scheme, or MPLADS for short. It's been around since 1993, and the idea is pretty simple. It gives every single MP 5 crore rupees a year to recommend projects that their local communities really need. Think of it like a dedicated pot of money for each and every constituency.
Now, here's the crucial part to understand how this all works. The MP only recommends a project. They don't touch the money. The funds go straight from the central government to the local district authority, and they're the ones who have to get the work done. It's a really important distinction. And here's the real kicker. The funds are non-lapsable. That means any unspent money just rolls over to the next year, and the year after that just piling.
So you can imagine, with all that money just rolling over year after year, the numbers start to get pretty huge. Let's take a look at where exactly these unspent funds are piling up the most.
And wow, this really shows you the scale we're talking about. Uttar Pradesh is at the top with a staggering unspent balance of over 343 crore rupees. But it's not just UP. Big states like Maharashtra and West Bengal are each sitting on over 100 crores of unspent funds. This isn't just some small accounting error. It's a huge pattern across the country.
And look, it's not just about the total amount, it's the percentage of funds that are going unused. A report from the Association for Democratic Reforms found that in Gujarat, almost half, 48% of all the money that was available for projects between 2019 and 2024 just sat there, unutilized.
Okay, so if an MP's term ends and there's this huge chunk of cash left over, what happens? Does the money just go back to the government? Let's take a look at how these funds actually get passed on.
Well, the rules are actually quite different depending on whether you're talking about the Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha. For a Lok Sabha MP, it's pretty straightforward. It's a direct inheritance. The new MP for that same constituency gets the entire unspent balance left by the person before them. But for the Rajya Sabha, it's a little different. The leftover money from all the outgoing MPs in a state gets pooled together, and then it's divided up equally among the new incoming Rajya Sabha MPs from that state.
All right, but what about the messy stuff? What happens if an MP resigns or, sadly, passes away in the middle of their term, leaving the seat empty?
The official guidelines are actually very specific about this. First off, any projects that were already greenlit must be completed, no matter what. Second, the new MP who comes in to fill that seat doesn't get a fresh 5 crores. For that year, they only get to use whatever uncommitted money was left over by the previous MP. And finally, if a project that was approved just can't be finished for some reason, that money doesn't vanish. It actually flows right back into the account for the new MP to use.
So, we've covered the numbers and the rules. But what does all this actually mean for people on the ground? Let's look at the real cost of these delays and these unspent funds.
In a perfect world, this is what you'd see. It's a report tracking all the completed projects, showing the name, the cost, the day it was finished. This is how accountability is supposed to work. But as we've already seen, this often isn't the full picture.
Yeah, when the Comptroller and Auditor General, the CAG, really digs into the data, you start to see some serious systemic problems. And it's not just honest mistakes. We're talking about funds being spent on things that aren't even allowed, like private buildings. There's a real lack of transparency where this money gets mixed in with other schemes, so you can't even tell what anything really costs. And then there's clear malpractice, like contracts being given out without a proper bidding process, leading to shoddy work.
And if you want a perfect example of this waste, just listen to this quote from a CAG report. It found that 520 projects were just left incomplete after nearly 12 crore rupees had already been spent on them. That is literally money down the drain, with absolutely nothing to show for it in the community.
And that's really the bottom line here. Unspent funds are not just numbers on a spreadsheet. Every single crore that's sitting untouched in a bank account represents a community that is still waiting.
waiting for a promised road, a new classroom for their kids, or a health clinic they desperately need. That's the real cost.
Now, the government knows this is a problem, of course. For years, this official website has been the main way to try and track the scheme and provide some transparency. But now, they're trying something new.
A new web portal called eSakshi has been launched, and the goal is real-time monitoring, more transparency, more accountability. But that brings us to the big, lingering question. Can a shiny new digital dashboard really fix the deep-seated problems, the red tape, the lack of capacity, the political friction that have been holding this scheme back for decades? It's a crucial question to think about. Thanks for watching.